percent of their revenue. Even when he offered to cut his salary, it did not make a difference because their wage bill was still 90%. So they were making a lot of money, but they were spending far too much of the money that they were making. And PSG is now going to be paying Messi $40 million per season, 20 billion naira a year. I told you how that money, if you look at Lagos's IGR, that money is about 5% of Lagos's IGR. Lagos's IGR last year was 418 billion naira. So one club is about to spend 5% of your state's revenue to pay one man. And they're making the money from football and from their investors. And their main investor is Qatar Sports Investment. Qatar Sports Investment is a subsidiary of the Qatar Investment Authority. It's partially owned by the Qatar Ministry of Finance and the Qatar Olympic Committee. And we have an equivalent of the Qatar Investment Authority. Our own is NSIA, the Sovereign Investment Authority. Organizations like that are supposed to take national wealth, invest it in ventures abroad, use the profits to develop the homeland. That's what QSI does. For them, their own goal is to invest heavily in world football and in other sports, then use the profits to develop their own sports at home. That's why they were fighting to get World Cup next year. We saw it pay off at the Olympics, Tokyo 2020. And they're funding it from oil. You're watching them use oil to build up the other sectors. And they're doing it for media as well. These investments, this focus, are the reasons why Qatar can come into Europe and buy big football clubs. It's the reason they can pay the world's best footballer a salary that European-owned clubs cannot pay. And my question is, do you think our own investment authority, our sovereign investment authority, the equivalent of the Qatari one, do you think we will get there one day? Do you think our own leagues, our own clubs will get to the level to attract investment from an investment authority like the Qatari one or Etihad in Abu Dhabi? If we put the same seriousness and same professionalism and same packaging into our local product, it should be able to sell like the European one. So why hasn't it? Do you think a Nigerian club will ever attract foreign investment like PSG has? Do you think Nigeria will ever be able to invest in global sport like Qatar has? We'll take one call, we'll head off on a break, we'll come back and bring you our second story. But you can still talk about the first story even after the break. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for calling.
Yes, good morning. My name is Samuel.
Hi, Samuel.
I'm calling from Ikoyi right now.
Welcome, Samuel.
Yes, with the right leadership and the right policy and the right mindset, we can achieve it. We have all the resources and we have human capacity. We have the resources in terms of mineral resources. We can make it happen. I don't know why people are told they have a negative mindset about this country. Yes, I'm not happy with this government. Doesn't mean we can't get it right in the future. Thank you.
Nope. Thank you very much for calling. All right. Means we have time for another call. 99.3.
Yes, Sandra.
Welcome. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Nice job you are doing once again.
Thank you.
Baba speaking.
Welcome, Joe Baba. You've got 1 minute.
Yeah, fantastic topic. And I believe Nigerian can do it. I mean, there's a certain thing in the Tottenham Hotspur, management some years ago. I don't know if his family has taken over now. This man, though he did not base in Nigeria, but if Fernandez is a Nigerian that was managing, that has, some, largesse in the sports hierarchy. So a Nigerian can do it. I mean, we've heard about Aliko Dangote. He can do it if he really wants to. He's having the passion of, buying a national football club. But the to go and do it, or maybe what he's making from other investments is distracting him. But if you have he or she that can have that mindset, okay, let me go for it We can do it.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. Unfortunately, Joe, we have to take a break. Some people will tell you, of course, that. Well, let me know what I want to say about Dangote and Monopoly and state backing. But we'll take a break. It's 26 minutes past 3. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Big 3 Global Edition. Don't go away.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Handtech Markets is an award-winning. Flexible online training, namely basic, intermediary, advanced, and mentorship classes, as we use our robust educational tools to analyze the market. To participate, kindly text name, location to 0805 690 5612. That is 0805 690 5612. For more info, log on to www.hmarkets.com and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at handtech_Africa. Handtech Markets. Trust through transparency.
The most common drug that damages the liver is paracetamol, what we call acetaminophen.
Are you interested in health? Then join Dr. Fred on the Health and Safety Cafe every Friday, 2:30 p.m. It's time to talk about health on your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
The U.S. government is sending a special envoy to try and restore peace in Ethiopia. That's our second story. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to the Big 3 Global Edition on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The conflict between the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, and the Ethiopian government is now a full-blown civil war. The TPLF has recaptured all of the Tigray region. But now the Ethiopian National Defense Force, ENDF, has mounted a blockade, and it's just harrowing what's happening there. The UN is saying that the ENDF is not letting enough food and supplies get into Tigray. The hope seems to be to use starvation to end the war, which, by the way, is a war crime and a crime against humanity, as defined by the Geneva Convention. So now the TPLF is marching towards Addis Ababa, the capital. They say they won't back down until Abiy Ahmed's government lifts the blockade or until they topple it. Prime Minister Ahmed is now calling for all able-bodied civilians to join the ENDF in resisting the TPLF. Many observers are interpreting this as a signal that the Ethiopian government's forces are no longer able to withstand the TPLF on their own. Oh, and speaking of the TPLF, they formed an alliance with the Oromo Liberation Army. Have you noticed, by the way, that anytime we talk about these factions in Ethiopia, their names always contain liberation? It's always Tribe A Liberation Front or Tribe B Liberation Army. That's because all these groups have a shared history. I told you before how Ethiopia was under military rule from 1974 to 1987. So during that time, all the different minority tribes formed their own rebel groups to try to liberate themselves from the regime and the country. That's where the whole Liberation Front matter comes from. And they all learned the work from the same groups of Cubans that helped a lot of East and Central African rebels at the time in places like Angola, Mozambique, Sudan, Uganda. But that's, by the way, let's come back to the present. The same Oromos still believe that the current government is marginalizing them. So they formed a splinter group of the OLA to keep fighting and resisting. It's not all Oromos who believe this, it's some of them who believe it. And now that splinter group has joined up with the Tigray rebels, the TPLF, and the TPLF says that it's negotiating with other ethnic armies to form a so-called grand coalition to defeat the ENDF. But let's go back to the Americans, because that's where we started, right? The US government is sending a special envoy to try and restore peace. The big question is, do they have the leverage to end this conflict? We're hearing from US diplomats off the record that all non-military options are on the table. So sanctions against the top leaders on both sides, as well as restrictions on what the Ethiopian government can import. But still, it's not clear whether this will be enough to stop the fighting. You know what I mean? Or even bring both sides back to the negotiating table. But we're keeping our eye on that story. We'll see how it goes. But I want to know your take on this evolving conflict in Ethiopia. Do you think the country can survive it? Do you think the country will splinter? Men, call me on 0700-993-993-993. Women, call me on 0700-993. 01-465-7190. That's for women. 01-465-7190. And yes, you can still talk to me about our first story. Do you think Nigeria will ever truly profit from the global sporting economy? Do you think we're able to do it? Do you think that our own NSIA will get to the place where Qatar's QSI is currently is? On the flip side, do you think our own leagues, our own clubs, so Enyimba FC and Dolphins in River State, do you think that they will be able to get to the level to attract investment from the Qatar investment arm, the sports investment? Or Etihad from Abu Dhabi? Do you think we'll get there? Do you think Nigeria will ever be able to invest in global sport the way Qatar has? So that was our first story. You can talk about that or you can talk about Ethiopia. Kevin is in Surulere. Hello, Kevin.
Yes, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Yes, regarding your first story, we can do it. But the only time it can happen is when governments, the governors and each state take their hands off our clubs.
Okay.
Almost all the whole clubs we have, except for two, belongs just to private sectors. The rest are handled by governors, and they take it as a personal business. That's why each time they leave, the clubs start to suffer. That is not how it's done in other crimes. So I don't know what the government are doing. They should hand off our clubs. The Nigerian clubs can do it. Let private sectors, individuals handle the club. Apart from fighting bad MSM, which other clubs is being handled by private people? So that's the problem we have.
Okay.
Apart from that, it cannot be done.
Okay.
Regarding your second story, the Ethiopian people should come to a truce and put this to an end. Bringing the United States, this United States that I know very well, it's not all about coming to settle issues or to liberalize people. It's about occupation most of the time. So I'm very worried and disturbed that the U.S. is coming in now.
Okay.
It is for their own interest. It is not for the Ethiopian people to have peace just like that. They have something to gain there. And that is why I keep saying in this our country, we should stop coming anybody to come and help us. We can sort ourselves out.
Okay.
So the people of Ethiopia come to a truce and resolve your matters. War does not help anybody. I greet you.
Thank you so much for calling. Anonymous is on the line. Anonymous, how are you?
Yes, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yes, Yoruba people would say in Yoruba that Alati Olishe, which means a dream that can never come to pass. Nigerians have to put some things in place before some things can happen. Now, if such would ever happen in Nigeria, let's start with electricity, at least have constant electricity for 1 year. If that can happen in Nigeria, then I believe that such would come to pass. And moreover, if these people will come and invest in Nigeria, they will do background checks. They know that majority of our leaders are crooks. I'm sorry to say, but that's just the truth. Okay. They will do background check to know that the money they're investing will go to the right places. Okay. They know what's happening here. I said it, that if Mercy were to be a Nigerian, he won't have made that transfer so quickly. Some people would have wanted to chop from that 1 million that is going to be getting in a week. It is corruption. This corruption will never, don't even let us debate it. It will never happen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anonymous, for calling. Wow. All right. We've got Christian in Lekki, who's a first-time caller. Hi, Christian.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah. On the first story, I feel a little bit of less greed would fix everything.
A little bit of what?
Less greed.
Okay. A little less greed. Okay.
Yeah, would fix everything we have in the sporting system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Very short. A little less greed in the sports sector could fix that problem. But here's the thing, and some people would argue that greed is what's led Barcelona to where it currently is. There's greed everywhere. Greed is a human thing. No be Nigerians greedy pass. Corruption is a human thing. No be Nigerians corrupt pass. You understand? America has huge cases of corruption, huge examples of corruption. Like, there's a lot of practices happening there. It's happening in Spain, it's happening in England, it's happening in just name it, it's happening there. Right? So, no be we do and pass. That's the point I'm making. But somehow, they're managing to get things done. So, why our own they stop us from getting things done? Why can't we do both side by side, the way our mates all over the world are doing it? Now, I'm not saying be corrupt. I would like a world where there's no corruption, but that's utopia. It doesn't exist. All over the world, your favorite Sena climbs, quote unquote, everywhere. Corruption day, greed day, selfishness day. They embezzle funds steady. They do under table deals steady. They settle people because you do campaigns steady. They pick VP and deputy governor because of the role we play for campaign. Who go be transport minister here? They do unsteady because of politics. So they happen everywhere. But still, in these countries, they find a way to do the work. Do they have two heads? Paul in Ebueda, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Paul from Egbeda.
I know. Go ahead.
Yeah. Nigeria will never attain to that level. Sandra, if you have been following sporting football events in Nigeria, you will ask questions. Where is the Leventis United, the new Nigerian bank, the IICC Shooting Stars, the Mighty Jets of George, the Bedell Insurance? Where are those clubs? The only surviving club today is Enugu Rangers. And before an investor comes into a country to invest, he will do his underground check. Do we have a sustainable policy to sustain our clubs? And what is the role of the government in our football management? Okay, look at the other time, the kind of corruption, bribery allegation, and the embezzlement of funds. Look at what happened in our Olympic, that an athlete was using only one jersey throughout. He will wear it in the morning, wash it in the afternoon, then wear it in the evening, wash it in the night against morning. Have you ever had such thing happen anywhere in the world? Have anybody resigned as a result of it? Or do you think the world is not listening, or they are not monitoring what is happening? The environment is not there. So as far as we have this corruption, Nigeria can never attain. Let's not just dream about it. Let's just forget about it. There's no electricity. Is there a transport system in Nigeria? Do we have rail? How about our local flights? Are they working? Our glorified airports here are just like terminals in abroad. So what are we talking about? So let's forget about it. Yesterday when I called, I said you will be a good policy developer outside journalism because you are gifted. And concerning Ethiopia, before I round up, you see, Ethiopia should serve as a lesson to the rest of African countries. Okay. When you see a child crying and pointing hand, the Igbo adage says, if the mother is not there, the father is there. the cause of this uprising is marginalization. And that is what is resulting. And unfortunately, as far as U.S. is involved, forget about it. That country will never know peace. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Incidentally, I want us to go from the U.S. getting involved in one conflict to the U.S. withdrawing from another. But that's after we talk to Charles in Bagada. Charles is a first-time caller. Hi, Charles.
Hi.
Good to have you on the show. Welcome.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. For the first one, you know what happened during the Olympics? First, that they put that away and nobody is doing it. But there's no consequence for it. The two guys are throwing tantrums at each other, and nobody is in jail. Nobody is behind bars. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody are asked to resign. They're all being left to fool themselves. I mean, this is the kind of thing investors will look at. I mean, they are investors for these ladies and these guys in the Olympics. Those who that keeps them up and stuff. And you see one of our guys washing his own kids to be used the next day. Funds were released by the government for this place, for these days, but you don't see them anywhere. The civil servant just do away with them. Funds are being released every time for the sports ministry, for the leagues, for everything. What do you see? Do you see anything? There are no equipment to train. There are no preparations whatsoever. Nothing is happening. Nobody's trying anybody. Nobody's probing anybody. There's no consequence. So why would huge investors come in this kind of space? Why would somebody want to put his money in this kind of sinkhole? Nobody wants to do that. So that's the reason why. I know you cited these things happen abroad. Do you know, even this abroad I talk about, yes, these deals happen, but they get the job done. I mean, you have to take a lot of effort, a lot of probe, for you to find anything. But here, it is lying in plain sight, and nobody is doing anything about it. That's why we can never get there. Yeah, the level of poverty, the level of greed, art is astronomical, out of this world. I've not seen it anywhere. Thank you.
Charles, thank you so much for calling. Okay, let's go to somewhere that the U.S. is withdrawing from. They've left Afghanistan and now the Taliban are taking over. That's our final story on the show. We've already talked about the U.S. Withdrawal here on Big 3 Global, if you remember. And we made the obvious prediction that the Taliban would fill the vacuum. But now that it's actually playing out, we can talk about some of the details, right? So this week, the Taliban reclaimed almost the entire northeast. I say reclaimed as a reminder that up until the U.S. invasion in 2001, the Taliban ran the country. On Thursday alone, the Taliban retook 5 provincial capitals out of 34. Yesterday, Kandahar fell. That's the second largest city. The Taliban are now marching on the capital, Kabul. And as the Taliban advance, lots of Afghans are fleeing. Many are afraid of what life under the Taliban will mean. You have to remember that the Taliban enforced a very strict form of Sharia law. Under the Taliban in the 90s, girls were not allowed to go to school. And they were required to cover their bodies from head to toe when they were outside. Public floggings, public executions were also very common. A lot of women in particular who have held public office in the last 20 years, people who have been part of educating girls, they are now afraid of reprisals. In fact, one of America's demands during the negotiations for the withdrawal was that the Taliban should pledge not to harm anyone who has worked with the Americans or with the Afghan government that they supported. Before now, thousands of these people have been arriving in Kabul for refuge. But now that Kabul seems to be about to fall, it seems like it's about to fall, there are fears about what will happen to these people. The Afghan government has seemed unable pretty much to resist the Taliban, in spite of all the training and all the equipment that the US military gave them. In fact, we keep seeing videos and pictures and reports of Taliban fighters overwhelming them, taking over the American equipment. The United Nations has asked all neighboring countries to leave their borders open so that refugees from Afghanistan can get to safety. They're also asking the Taliban to allow humanitarian aid. The UN is accusing the Taliban of using death squads to kill officials of the government and their families. More things they happen. Foreign countries now have to decide how they handle the Taliban. Do they recognize them as the ones running the country, or do they insist on recognizing the elected government? Understandably, the US has told the Taliban that they won't recognize a forceful takeover. But the Turkish government has already said that it will engage with the Taliban at the highest level in order to ensure peace and protect Turkish interests in Afghanistan. Turkey also says that they will take over protecting and managing the Kabul airport from the Americans. So that's the situation in Afghanistan. Could it have been avoided? Or was this bound to happen no matter when America left? Because I don't think America could have been there forever. What do you think about the UN's reports of reprisal killings? Do you think the international community should, recognize the Taliban or the elected government? You know the numbers. Women call me on 01465 7190. Men call me on 0700 993 993 993. We now have WhatsApp. WhatsApp is now available, so I'll take your messages from WhatsApp as well. 99.3. Hello.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
This is Malik speaking from First Stack.
Welcome.
Sandra, should I continue with the football stories?
Yes, you can talk about all if you want.
Sandra,
yes.
I'm in my mid-30s now.
Okay.
And I know how Nigeria works when I was younger.
Okay.
And I know how the radio educate people very well.
Okay.
And I know how they give. There was a law that period that if a federal government worker, your official car should not be outside by 6 p.m. I don't even understand me.
Yeah, I understand.
We're in the right track. Like what a caller said, if Messi was in Nigeria, that deal no go work. Because we too like Bagbele. We like that go too much. It's not in our DNA.
But Babele day everywhere. Everybody get Babele for everybody.
No.
So we get then get two heads.
Sandra, you speak pidgin.
Are they speak pidgin now?
Kotabeko. Sandra, let me tell you something here. There's this wickedness we have here. Once you climb the ladder, you burn the ladder.
My guy, everybody get wickedness all over the world. Everybody they gum ladder once they climb.
Sandra, look, our own is something else. There is no accountability. We've seen a place that once you're wrong, either you resign or they fire you. Do you understand me? But this one, they are wrong. If you see every evidence for a minister to go or for a government official to go, the person will still be there. Then what day is the next person I want to take over the office? What is the lesson you're giving to the next man taking over that office? You remember when they say wash your hands? Because of COVID-19. Sandra, you and I know in the 80s, before you enter your classroom, there's a bucket, there's a washing hand bowl outside. You have to wash your hands before you enter your classrooms. But those who are doing this now, apart from the COVID-19, that was the lesson given to us by then. Then for Afghanistan, Sandra, let me say this, and you will believe me. The Arab nations do not want some country to grow. Even though they don't like U.S. policy, we know. Are there no universities in Saudi Arabia?
There are.
Are there no groups in Dubai?
There is.
So what is the big job saying they must cover their head to toe? Don't they have lifestyle in those areas? In some Islamic country? Like our own country that will be bringing some, like what Hizbah is doing in Kanu. I don't know, you saw the news. You heard about the news? The governor has a degree, PhD. Didn't he go to school, the governor of that state? He's not well read to his son, to his daughter, and you allow that to happen in a state? Who is it deceiving? He is well read, and people are there bringing a law that's frustrating somebody else. They should ban mannequin. Meanwhile, your daughter is doing makeup. Sandra, if God come down, we will turn to salt.
Thank you very much for calling. Kevin is in Apapa. I don't know if he's still on the line. He's a first-time caller. Hi, Kevin. Are you there? Oh, he's not there anymore. Obiajulu Theophilus says, Sandra, on Messi and Qatar investment, I know that corruption is everywhere, but in Europe and America, they have working systems that make corruptions be checked and be punished. Nigeria has a natural gift in minerals and human resources, but correct placement of leadership is our problem. America doesn't help where they cannot benefit. I think he's talking about the second and third story. Edozie Duneme Henry says, Sandra, please stop. Our case in Nigeria is different. Where have you seen governor paying players running football? I beg. Budget Emmy says, Sandra, I'm sure Femi of the sports gang will be wishing to have you. For the question, I believe our government can invest and sponsor sports and players. If only they become repented. Now wow. You people should try now. Eh? Aleke Johnson says, Sandra, you should be thinking of Nigerians to meet up with Egypt and Tunisia counterparts. Not to talk of PSG and co. Not in this generation, I swear down. Aleke Johnson, thank you very much for your message. Let's take a few more calls. 99.3, hello. Sorry about that. Call back if you can. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, how are you, sir? What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Paul, calling from Berger.
Welcome, Paul.
Yeah, Sandra. I want to talk about the first story of football and the Nigerian mentality.
Yes.
So I think what we need in that area, we need to emancipate from the mental slavery completely.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
We somehow believe that we can't do anything here because of the set of leaders we have. But I believe we have not explored more ideologies from Nigerians. Honestly, there could be an app that can make away with corruption in Nigeria. If some of those systems came before the previous government left, like TSA and all that, and they are working gradually, we can still have more innovations from the new generation that can do away with this corruption that we complain about. That's what I think. And secondly, on the Taliban, I want to know, Sandra, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, on the Taliban, I want to know that the Taliban are not working alone.
Okay.
Taliban are working with a group of international mercenaries like the Al-Qaeda. Don't forget Osama bin Laden was based in this place before the invasion.
Right.
And the Al-Qaeda are much more in partner with Taliban right from that. Don't forget the Al-Qaeda has metamorphosed into ISIL now. And there are many places of the world. So they can migrate. So the Taliban also get a back of some of the rogue nations like Iran, like Russia, and all of them. So these Taliban are not working alone. They have partners, secret partners, that are working with them, supplying weapons, supplying them logistics and mercenaries. So that's it. So they are coming, but there's going to be war in that region. So we should expect more war in that region. That's what I can see.
Goodness. Thank you so much for calling. Oh, Jesus should just do and come, I beg. I'm tired. We've got Zed Ise from Jackondale's Estate, who says, Sandra, our NSIA cannot do what Qatar is doing with their wealth because even though we have the human capacity, our political leaders are shallow thinkers and myopic visionaries who do not know what national development is beyond their selfish pockets. All right. Thank you very much for your message, Zed. We've got more people who are sending us messages. Let me quickly take this one. You don't leave your name, but you say, President Sandra, that cannot happen in Nigeria because corruption is too much. I keep saying corruption is everywhere. Corruption is everywhere. All right. We have a break coming up, so I can't keep taking messages. But as soon as the break is done, I'll come and take messages and then play Just a Minute. Don't go away, Lagos.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this. Do you know that one stream of income cannot create your desired future wealth? More men have become great through practice than by nature. Thanks to Forex trading, you can now make more money daily using your mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-enabled device. Let Hantech Markets, a multi-tier regulated forex brokerage firm with over 30 years experience, show you how. At Hantech Markets, we offer free trainings, an award-winning signal providing tool, fast deposit and withdrawal options, outstanding customer service, and much more. To get started, visit our website www.hmarkets.com or send an SMS with your name and location to 0805 690 5612. That is 0805 690 5612. It's time to break free from financial limitations, and Handtech Markets, it's your lasting solution.
Everybody needs a little help every now and then. Sometimes it's sugar or salt or an extra hand to change a flat tire or a small loan. At Kuda Microfinance Bank, we believe that your bank should do more than just store your money. We want to do more for you, so when you use your Kuda account to pay bills, buy airtime, and make transfers regularly, we'll offer you an overdraft, which is a low-interest loan that you can take anytime you need it. No long talk, no collateral, no paperwork involved. Just download Kuda on the Play Store or the App Store, open a Kuda account, and use it regularly to qualify for Kuda Overdraft. Kuda, free banking for you.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
4 minutes to the top of the hour. Adeshino Ayatoyinbo says, Sandra, I think the question should be, can we get rid of or subdue corruption in Nigeria like those developed countries? If yes, we can do it, and if no, we cannot. It's very hard. Yes, there's corruption everywhere, yes, but imagine what happened to our athletes in the Olympics happened to USA athletes. What do you think their sports bodies would have done by now? That's a very good question. We've got comments on YouTube. Samuel Otemuiwa says, Yoruba would say Atilela Tiko. I'm sure I just murdered that. But in English parlance, charity begins at home. Our own local leagues are not well sponsored. How then can we go global? My dear, thank you so much. We appreciate your efforts. We appreciate your contributions. We appreciate everyone who tried to join today's show. But before we go, let's give you a chance to win 10K. I love giving money away. Meanwhile, yesterday's winner. What's that your name again, Seth? I hear that you have been banned from playing Just a Minute on Nigeria Info. And yet you called me and you played because you thought that I would not know. Do you not think that when we give Sheriff the name, Sheriff will see your name and therefore know that you have been banned? Zurakat Mustafa, please don't call again to play Just a Minute. You are banned. That's what Sheriff said. So we can't give you the money. Sorry, because you played Ojoro. This is part of the corruption. See, Nigerian food has consequences for corruption. If you are corrupt, we'll consequence you out. All right, let's play. 99.3, hello.
Nigeria, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. You want to play Just a Minute?
Yes.
All right, so the score you have to beat is 4, right? So you have to answer 5 questions. That's how you win. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, your time starts now.
This is Just a Minute.
Which state had the highest COVID numbers yesterday?
Lagos.
Did the COVID numbers go up or go down?
Go down.
Was the COVID number higher than or lower than 700?
Higher than 700.
Which South state overtook Rivers to be number 2 on the COVID list?
Bayelsa.
Which Southwest state was number 3 on the COVID list? See, village people. Jesus. All right, let's try somebody else. 99.3.
Hello.
How are you? What's your name?
Oh, this is Charles. Okay.
Do you want to play Just a Minute?
Yes, I want to play a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Your time starts now.
Oh, yeah.
Which state has the highest COVID numbers yesterday?
Lagos.
Did the COVID numbers go up or down?
It go up.
Was the COVID number higher than or lower than 700?
It's over 700.
Which South state overtook Rivers to be number 2 on the COVID list?
Rivers.
Which Southwest state was number 3 on the COVID list?
Yeah.
Lionel Messi is a player for which club now?
It's for PSG.
Messi's club is owned by a sovereign fund from which country? Messi's club is owned by a sovereign fund from which country?
Germany.
Abiy Ahmed is the prime minister of which country?
Abiy Ahmed. Ethiopia.
Which country has sent a special envoy to resolve the Ethiopia crisis?
US.
That's correct. Congratulations, you are our winner for today. Hold on so that we can get your details.
Okay.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Stay on the line. Congrats. Find me online, Lagos, Sandra Ezekwesili. I'm back on Monday with the big stories that will break this weekend. I love you guys. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
And now the business news.